Many people are leaving Mormonism these days, and many of those former Mormons are seeking a new spiritual home in traditional biblical Christianity. And as they do, they need help making that journey. That's why we're creating this video and these resources, because former Mormons need help navigating difficult relational and emotional issues, and they need help sorting out new ways of thinking about what's true and what isn't true. And often the very best way to help those people is for someone to come alongside them as a mentor. And so that's why we've created this series called Mentoring Former Mormons, and all the resources that are there to train people for that role. And this video is a short version, a nutshell version of about what it means to mentor former Mormons. Now, as we talk about that, first of all, it's important to understand mentoring. Whether it's applied to former Mormons or anyone else, mentoring is a clearly defined process. Now, mentoring means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but when we use that term at Pursue God, we're talking about a clearly defined process with certain tools and methods that's going to really help you to succeed, to know what to do. And it's based on our library at pursuegod.org. You can use anything in the library to mentor a former Mormon, but we have a special Mormonism resources page that you'll be referring to over and over again. Now, this is a simple method. You don't have to be an expert on the Bible. You don't have to be an expert on Mormonism, because the content in our library will do that for you. You just have to be a caring person who's willing to take the initiative. Now, we use a method called the FLEX method. F stands for find a topic. And so either you or the person you're mentoring will find a topic in the library that you want to talk about, and then you can send each other the link. Then L means learn about it. So each of you on your own is going to learn about that topic and read the article, watch the video, think about the questions. And then the EX stands for explore it together. You're going to schedule a time and a place where you're going to get together and use those discussion questions to talk about what you're learning in that conversation. Now, use the conversation as a launching point, as a guide, but you don't have to cover every question, and you can certainly talk about other things that need to be discussed in the person's life that you're mentoring at that time. Now, there's 3 responsibilities that you have in using the FLEX method, using the library to mentor former Mormons. Your first responsibility is that you're modeling a life of pursuing God yourself, that you're growing in your own relationship with God, and that's evident to the person you're mentoring. Your second responsibility is to pray for that person, to pray for the relationship. And then your third responsibility is to schedule. You're the one who takes the initiative to make sure that you are meeting again next time. And you make some assignments, who gets to pick the topic, but you're setting the time and place so you keep the relationship moving forward. Now, most people cannot mentor more than just a few. You may just mentor one person. You may mentor a couple of people. You may mentor a couple of people in a small group setting. But the point is that you only just mentor a few based on your capacity, and you don't have to mentor them forever. This is not a lifelong commitment. There'll be a period of engagement, and over time, as you perceive a need, then you can meet with them a little less frequently, a little more occasionally, as you perhaps move on to mentor others, and as you train them to mentor other people as well. And so that's our method, that's our tool. You can learn more about that in our mentor training series or in our series, Mentoring Former Mormons. But as we're giving you just a nutshell version of that, the first thing you want to remember when you're mentoring former Mormons is that they're going to need help with emotional issues. Mormonism is a whole culture, it's a whole identity, a whole way of life. And so someone who's leaving that culture is going to have some emotional challenges they have to navigate. There's going to be some anger at maybe feeling lied to. They're going to feel vulnerable and disoriented at how much is different now. They're going to feel a lot of loss of identity and heritage, loss of certainty, loss of a sense of purpose in their lives. They may have trouble trusting new institutions, trusting new leaders, even trusting themselves. Or they may have trouble navigating the new freedom that they have once they're out of the legalistic structure of Mormonism. And so as a mentor, you have an opportunity to patiently listen as they struggle with those emotional challenges, but use the conversations in our library and then listen and maybe gently nudge them forward as they deal with emotional issues. But former Mormons are also going to need help with conceptual issues. Mormons are taught to think a certain way, and now they're being confronted with the idea that what they thought was true is not true anymore, and now how do I know what's true? And so you can help them, mentoring them to sort out some of those conceptual challenges. It might start with terminology. Terminology that they are familiar with is now redefined in different ways in the Bible. They might need help just understanding the credibility and the authority of the Bible. That's something that's undermined in Mormonism. They might need help understanding grace and the place of grace because they've been conditioned to works righteousness. They might need help understanding the doctrine of the Trinity that's confusing to Mormons, or what the church is supposed to be like, or heaven and hell, or the pre-existence. There's a lot of theological or doctrinal issues that you're going to have to just be patient with them and help them to move forward. Correct them gently. Don't just slam them with new ideas. Help them to find out their own answers to these ideas. And again, you can use the resources at pursuegod.org to help them think through and discuss through with you some of these new truth claims and new conceptual ideas. And then as you mentor former Mormons, understand that they're going to face certain obstacles in their journey. Everybody's going to face some obstacles on their journey to faith in Christ, but there are certain typical issues that former Mormons might face. For example, they're going to face opposition from their family and friends. As people start to hear about their decision to pursue a new faith life, their family and friends will often oppose them, often in many dramatic ways. They're going to face mistrust of churches. They've been lied to, they feel like, by a church before. They're going to be confused about a lot of the customs and practices of traditional Christian churches, because we do things differently than Mormons do in terms of finances, leadership, authority, how we do service and ministry, how we gather for worship, the symbolism. And a lot of former Mormons are going to have challenges in making new relationships because churches aren't just structured relationally in the same way that the Mormon ward is. So you're going to come alongside as a mentor with patience and gentleness and help them deal with these obstacles, again, using the resources at pursuegod.org. Now, when we're mentoring former Mormons, we have a clear goal in mind. Now, we have a clear goal in mind when we're mentoring anybody, regardless of their background. We want to help them go full circle in their relationship with God. We're helping them pursue God, and we want them to come to the place where they can help other people pursue God as well. But related to Mormonism, that takes shape in a couple of ways. Number one, we want to help them form a new identity. A lot of times people see their identity as a former Mormon, but that's looking in the past. We want to see them to see their identity as a follower of Jesus Christ, that they're a disciple of Jesus and all that means. And so really mentoring is about making disciples. And for former Mormons, that means adopting this new identity as a Christ follower. But we also want to help them adopt a new purpose, because to live as a disciple means to obey what Jesus says. And we start that journey by trusting Jesus. And that might mean certain things for people coming out of Mormonism. And then we want to learn how to live to honor God. And again, that means certain things for people coming out of a legalistic religious framework. And then we grow mature by helping other people pursue God. And so that's our ultimate goal for former Mormons, or for anybody, is to help them find this new purpose as a disciple of Jesus, that their purpose in life is they're going to help other people pursue God. So you can learn more about that by looking at Foundations. We go into that a little more detail in the Mentoring Former Mormons series, and there's a great video on that called Foundations for Leaders. But as a mentor, then you can really help former Mormons keep moving forward to what Jesus has in mind for their life as they go full circle. And if you use the methods and the tools and the resources at pursuegod.org, then you're going to succeed. You're going to have a great experience mentoring people, finding their way out of the Mormon faith into a new relationship with Christ.